I try first to start with a little bit of a prologue, and then I get a little bit of an epilogue, hopefully, because that I wrote down late yesterday night or today in the early morning hours, because of this topic post. Should I take this one? Because of this topic post digital. I just tried to find one image which we took during the revolution to smash global capitalism. That was that took place at the Cabaret Voltaire in 2011 in Zurich, and this image is basically taken during the workshop. You see here in the front Reverend Billy. Reverend Billy is giving a talk in front of Voina's Fuck for the Hair Puppy Bear. Well, that's what's written, I think. So is anyone good in reading Russian here? Can you confirm that? I haven't confirmed it so far, but that's what it says. So that is pretty post-digital, having Mr. Reverend Billy in front of Voina's artwork. Wikipedia says about Fuck for the Hair Puppy Bear that it is, quote, that it was an action staged by the Russian performance group Voina at the Timaryazev State Biological Museum in Moscow in February 2008. And it really does feel somehow like this room. You have all these kind of naked people around, and you kind of wonder, wow, it's, yeah. It does fit then coming back to the kind of post-digital, being in this space, imagining what we're doing here. So yeah, maybe I should just continue and not drop those lines. Yeah, but why not be a little bit rude? I think maybe fucking around might be something post-digital if you look at this stuff. Anyway, let's go. And I really need to give here a little bit of credits first to my homies for this coining of this term, radical real time. I will just briefly go into it. This is not going to be a lot about this work, but radical real time has been something which I've been quite interested now lately as well. This is a small parcel. It was a radical real time performance, and it was the use of Twitter in that sense. What you see here is just a parcel with a small hole. Here you see that there is something drilled through the package, and if you look inside the package, you simply see that there is a mobile phone connected to a large battery pack in order for it to keep it alive. And this mobile phone basically sends out about every 10 seconds an image plus the location data, so you can actually track it. So a medium group at Bitnik basically sent this off to Julian Assange in the Ecuadorian embassy through the London or UK postal system, and it kind of arrived there with a nice statement of Julian giving a credit on postal art is contagious. He then sent it off. That was just recently. It is stuck, unfortunately, in Dubai in the moment, but as I have to rush, you can look it up for yourself. It's bitnik.org/Assange and bitnik.org/Rajab. I just want to keep this notion of radical real-time a little bit in our mind, because I go now a little bit back in history to explain a little bit the context where I'm coming from with the research. This is me and my chap, James. You see him here on the right side, holding up the open wireless banner in front of another parliament. This is also probably like government building here. There you see another government building in the background. That's the Westminster. And this was a discussion about the Digital Economy Act, which per se, how we see it, is actually censoring our capabilities of running an open wireless network, which we do operate in Southeast London. It's called OWN. You can look it up. It's own.sbc.org. Because of the Digital Economy Act, and it is kind of a European-wide thing, is actually holding us accountable for any kind of intellectual copyright infringement, intellectual property copyright infringement. So in that sense, we can just be shut down at any minute. And coming then from my research, that was kind of the research question I asked, really kind of coming from the utopian ideas. Nowadays one must though say it, and that's now kind of a time span of about 10 years. Nowadays one must say, coming back from the 90s, looking at internet art at the 90s, how it was utopian at that time, and what kind of dystopian beliefs were there around. Probably with everything what happened with Mr. Snowden, the NSA, those revelations, the proof, so to say, that we kind of see the dystopian future much more as we have been afraid of or fearing. It's probably happening right in this moment, but still, I do think that free Libra open source software holds a big potential. That was then the final question with which one I worked, really asking what practices, methods, and tools can facilitate media arts practitioners wishing to engage in collaborative, collective, participatory media and or arts productions projects, which stemmed off originally also from a work from meeting group Ibid Pirate TV Stations workshops, where we actually had a radius of 1 to 2 kilometers distributing any kind of media content connected to a server. In the UK though, it's a bit well, let's call it dangerous or difficult, because it's a matter of national security. So I wasn't really up to actually experiment with pirate TV in that sense on UK soil, and I just decided to go web-based only. And that was the Dead for TV project, which in its end is kind of a, I kind of refer to it as a wiki film. That's the main, well, that's the heart really. It's kind of a database holding a concurrent versioning system, so any kind of film edit or any kind of change is recorded. Everybody can work on each other's project. The whole media content itself is also copylefted, so it's all licensed either under the Creative Commons share-alike attribution, general public license, or the one I prefer the most, the free art license, as it just makes good statements if you read it. That's the sketch of the system. Everything in blue is online. In between you see uploading, downloading, and the green stuff is offline. We've been working with the Drupal server, Linux LAMP project. So we used PureDyna. At that time it was a distribution allowing you to edit videos for free with free software. It also holds a streaming software. It's a whole package, a bundle. By now you don't need these packages or bundles anymore, because I think Linux kind of got established. You have all the software sense and you can actually quite easily install it by now. So I don't think there's much excuse not to use Linux anymore, but we still see that it's not the case. So something is happening here. That's the system, bootable from a memory stick, and that's what we gave out during the workshops. That's the first workshop, where we actually started then to collaboratively edit on the server. I just want to make you aware of one quote here, which I kind of really like in connection to the database, which we've been working with. I won't read it out now, but you can read it quickly. That's Daniel Sharon in Database Aesthetics, Issues of Organization Category in Online Art, the ANI and Society Journal. Practices which came out were documentary practice, TV show practices, and remix practices. I won't go into those either because time is very short. I will just stop with, we'll just go to one example, which is Dorf TV, which we used in 2011 in Linz, where we actually then got hold of the whole Freeview distribution. So we actually managed to close the circle and produce, and that's kind of the reach. It's about 500,000 households in the area of Linz, which we could reach then with our database production. So on one day we actually, well, we went CCTV sniffing, so to say. We actually captured CCTV footage in the city of Linz. We asked the participants to edit on the database, and then we outputted the project over Dorf TV, which is the local TV station in Linz. And this is also online on Dorf TV itself. This is then the Open Wireless Network around 2008, which James Stevens set up over DexSpace Media Lab. And this is us again just protesting against the Digital Economy Act, because most likely a lot of people do not really want to participate so much anymore in open wireless networks due to, I think, pretty much also due to change in legislation and a cultural shift really to be afraid of doing such things. So it changed a little bit. That's around 2013. So that's pretty much now the state of the wireless, of the open wireless network, which we then kind of connected, or where we now kind of try to see how can we actually use such an open wireless network, and here connected back again to the radical real time for distribution means. And that's all experimenting. We just started with a fellowship at the Post Media Lab in Lausanne. So it's a postdoc project where we actually look now a little bit more, instead of the production methods, into the distribution methods. This one here is I have to give credit here to Robert Oxhorn, because we started to use the whole archive now also in his software. That's all written in Node.js. And it's actually a browser which gives you all of the footage, all of your archive materials in one view. You can start metadata editing it, and you can start arranging it on the fly. So actually the whole thing is browsable in the server. That is one thing which we used in order to, or which we're using in order to go through our archives. But what we really do, or in terms of radical real-time, is the use of near-field communication. And there is just the concept of distribution, what we want to try with this DeckSpace TV workshops, because we really just hold workshops there as well, as this is experimenting with those ideas, is to try to get file sharing running over near-field communication. And we are asked now for next week, we'll have a workshop in Lüneburg. We asked the Freifunk Collective, which is an open wireless network. Freifunk is an organization in Germany also dealing with open wireless networks. We asked them to join us and to see that we can build up a Freifunk open wireless node in Lüneburg on top of a cultural space, which kind of would allow us to then engage with participants on this near-field communication idea. We want to create stickers, or that's kind of the idea. We use those stickers as near-field communication chips, and we just distribute them throughout the city, but wherever you are, you can just stick them on anything. And really kind of connected with BitTorrent. BitTorrent is probably known by most of you, so it doesn't really need so much of an explanation. But what is interesting here, and here I'm just a bit cautious, because I do think that I really like the concept of BitTorrent sync. It's actually, in a nutshell, I call it file sharing over your mobile phones. And if you can do that with those RFID stickers, or just hold your mobile phones over each other's, or just sync in real time, so to say, you have actually pretty much all of you a real-time synchronization mechanism. The problem here for me still is that it's still not released as flaws. They have promised to keep it free forever. That's kind of the Skype principle. But I'd really hope that something like that will advance also into the free and open source software scene, because I think that's pretty much something we haven't witnessed so far, experimented, is to have kind of file sharing in real time over mobile phone devices, which would really enable everyone here in this room to distribute to each other on the fly. We could even have the recordings going on and so forth. You can think of many, many new ways if you actually distribute over a file sharing mechanism like that. And that's pretty much it. I will conclude on some points here which I find important. One is that I still do think that we need to discuss independent infrastructure, self-organization, especially in those times of Google, Facebook, and all the co. So here I just mentioned Open Wireless Network, DeckSpace, Servos, Livoli. Livoli should happen again next year. And also a conference we have been running besides the screen, which hopefully will happen next year in Brazil as well all the stuff which is happening with the Post Media Lab. But that's one thing, one discussion point I find important if one wants to talk about post-digital, if that can also be hosted on independent infrastructure. And the other thing is the question if this is possible through this buzzword, participatory culture. I just want to note out their peer-to-peer currencies, a research project, Dindi by Jaromil, and maybe another interesting concept, Vodo, as in voluntary donation. And I kind of want to close with a statement or quote from Jaromil on Bitcoin. He says, WikiLeaks has experienced Bitcoins redeemable like precious metals in either US dollars, euros, or still pound sterling as the only source of funding. That was Jaromil in 2012. And I do want to just leave one image up, again giving credits to the Bitniks, to Mediengruppe Group Bitnik, so to say, which is kind of a radical real-time transmission of an empty chair out of the Ecuadorian embassy in London early in the beginning of this year, posted on Twitter in an instant moment, so to say. Thank you very much.